Okay, so I wanted to take a quick minute and show you guys a couple of basic things in Photoshop. Now, Photoshop's not normally something that I typically will teach you in depth, but I wanted to give you a few skills that may be helpful as you're working through your design history project, because some of those design movements lend themselves to needing pictures within your designs. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to just plop a picture in there that's going to have a big square background behind it that you may not want. You also don't want your picture to look like it stands out like a sore thumb, so you want to make sure it blends in with your design and goes along with your overall theme that you're going for. So, first things first, open Photoshop. It should already be installed on your computer. The icon looks like this. Notice my top left corner, I've got it open. It just looks like Illustrator, but it's blue and it says PS instead of AI. Now, I went to File, New. This should look familiar because it's very similar to Illustrator. I'm going to work in inches for this as well, and I'm going to make it 5 by 7 just to keep it simple, okay? And I'm going to push Create. So there's my artboard. I've already copied a picture of Will Smith, okay? Notice it doesn't fit, and I can't really see the whole thing. So if I go to Image, where is it? Reveal All. I now can see. It adjusts my artboard for the image so that I can see everything, right? So Image, Reveal All. Now, what we don't want is just this big square background. So I'm going to show you how to cut out Will Smith's head. Now, the tool that we're going to use is over here on the left. It's called the Magnetic Lasso tool. It's got a magnet, all right? And it's really kind of simple to use. So I can Alt scroll and zoom in. Spacebar and click and drag should work just like Illustrator, right? Like moving around. I'm going to start here just by clicking, and I let go of my mouse, so I single clicked. I'm just going to move my mouse along the edge that I want to select. All those little anchor points are putting themselves down. If I want to put one down, like say at this corner, if it hadn't have done that, I could just click and add one. Right? His collar kind of comes up here. You can click along if you want, but since it's a magnetic lasso tool, it does its best job to kind of magnet itself to the edge of the differing color pixels, right? So I'm going to move my way around. If I spacebar in hand, it's not going to do anything, right? It's just going to move my image. So I'm going to look, okay, if I accidentally do this, I can move my mouse back to where I want to be and then just push backspace. Okay, so I'm going to backspace until it goes to where I want. And then I'm going to work my way around his ear, laying these little anchor points all the way along. Spacebar hand. Okay, he's got a straight head, so you're going to have to be strategic about how you put this particular image in Illustrator because, oops, and maybe I don't like that anchor point. Okay. Because his head's going to be cut off. So the placement may limit itself for placement, right? Because you don't want this big, straight, flat head in your Illustrator file. Right, let's go around his ear. And this does a pretty good job about staying along the lines. The faster you do it, the more chances are that it might go a little bit off. All right, so let's go along the bottom. And you'll notice when you go back to the beginning, there's that circle again, just like the pen tool, right? And I can click, and there he is. He's selected. Okay, you can tell by that little marching ant line around his head. And we're going to copy and paste him. So Control-C and Control-V. And it looks like I didn't do anything, but if I grab this 4-way directional arrow, I can move him, and now he's got 2 heads. Whoa, okay, there's 2 of him. Now, we're going to go over to our layers over here on the right. And layer 1 is where we pasted the picture. I'm going to use this trash can to delete it. Yes, delete layer 1. And same thing for the background layer that automatically shows up. Yes. Okay, so now I just have Will Smith's head floating on my artboard. Notice the checkered background, that means it's transparent. So we're going to save this. File, save as. Will Smith test, okay? Yes, we're going to save it. All right, now before I show you how to bring it into Illustrator, there's a few more things that I'd like to show you on here because you might not want your picture to be in color. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But there are some adjustments that you can do in here. You can change it to grayscale if you want. Okay, it's going to discard the color information. And you can also blow out the values, right? So let's adjustments, image, adjustments, and we're going to go to curves. It's going to bring up this funky looking window, right? And you can click and drag along this line, and it's going to adjust the values of his face. Notice how that's changing, right? As I'm adjusting these curves, it's adjusting the look of his face. So if I totally blow out the values, I can do it that way, or I can do it really scary, like this way, right? Not quite what I'm looking for right now. But if I adjust this, I might get something that's a little bit different, more exposure. We're not going to talk in super detail, but maybe I want to do something like that. Okay, you can do this while it's in color too. Sometimes it looks better when it's black and white. And as long as this little preview box is checked right here on the right, you'll be able to see what it's going to look like. So once you get it the way you want, I'm just going to push OK. I can also adjust some different colors in here, right? If it's in the color mode, you can go back. Like, I don't know if it's going to let me go back. But when you're in the color mode, let's undo. Edit, undo, edit, undo. Oops. It's not going to let me step all the way backwards. Step backwards. There we go. Okay, some of the shortcuts are a little different. But if I want to do some adjustments to him, I can adjust the color. I can adjust a bunch of different things in here. And if you want to go and do some different looking around about some of the specifics, again, I'm not going to teach it right now in this class, but you can adjust the hue. So if you want to like make him look like the Hulk, like we can play with this. Let's see if I can make him really green. There we go. Okay, now he's kind of hulkish. Okay, so you can play around with this and make it fit for your design. And obviously it can be kind of fun. So play around with it. Once you get him the way you want, you can save him again. So I'm going to save him. File, save. Right, so now let's talk about how to bring it into Illustrator. So in Illustrator, make a new file here. All right, we're just going to do 10 by 10, just for simplicity. All right, we're not just going to Control V paste him in. What we're going to do is go to File, and then we're going to go to Place. Right, so we've saved this, and you got to go to find where you have it saved at. There it is, Will Smith test. Then I'm going to push Place. Now notice I get this weird little Will Smith icon, right? And wherever I click, there is Will Smith. So notice how around his head is transparent. So if I had a background, it's not going to look funky, right? I can put a background behind him and make it black if I want and send it to the back. And he looks like he fits in there, other than the fact that his head is flat on top, right? I could do this to make it work a little better. So you're able to use images in your designs without having big random squares around them, right? You can kind of have more control over what exactly the image is that's in your design, especially in your illustrated design. Hopefully this was helpful, especially for those of you that are doing like American Kitsch or things like that for your design history project. If there's more that you want to learn about Photoshop, there are tons and tons of awesome tutorials out there on YouTube if you are ambitious and would like to go check them out. So good luck on your projects, and I hope this was helpful.
Release to lunch team.